Good evening and welcome to Viewpoint on Osrc Television. I am Akintunde Akinshimola. Well, Viewpoint comes to you Mondays from 6:15 to just 5 minutes to 7. Well, today's show is not going to be different, as I have one of my team members today. Unfortunately, the other person is been very, very busy, but is going to join us next week. Mr. Topewu, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Good evening, and it's nice having me again this evening.
Well, Mr. Topewu is a member of the 4th Estate of the Realm and a public affairs analyst. All right, we're going to start from here. On the 30th of this month, Rivers State will conduct election into various local government elections to fill the void created by the absence of democratically elected local government chairman, vice chairman, and of course councillors. Well, the elections will be overseen by the military administrator Ibas Eta. Taking a look at this election, let's take a look at it. Has it followed any due process? Does the military administrator, does it have the local sign, does it have the right to conduct that election? Mr. Kewu.
Presently, he is the governor.
De facto.
And he has all the powers of the governor. However, it's unfortunate that anything goes in this country. If not, he would have been thinking of conducting an election. Why was there state of emergency in Rivers State? The president declared state of emergency because of issues that are there or were there. That's where likelihood of breakdown of law and order. So it was drafted there to maintain peace and order. However, the man has been seen himself as elected governor. I have said it on this channel that having a military administrator in a democratic setting is an aberration. And I also said 2 or 3 weeks ago that things that are happening in Benue, Plateau, and some states in the northeast more than what happened in Rivers State, and a state of emergency was declared. And people start asking, is it because Rivers State is under the grip of PDP? Now a state of emergency has been declared. That man appointed new head of service, has been doing a lot of things, and has been seen himself as.
Are those things unconstitutional?
You see, I'm not a lawyer. I wouldn't want to say whether it is constitutional or not. We have said it ab initio that having an administrator, military administrator in democracy is an aberration. So why should you now say whatever he does is still an aberration? Now he has been conducting himself. He has presented a budget to the National Assembly. He has started thinking of conducting local government election. Whatever he does while in office, I don't see anything that he has done it. If the election is conducted, you remember that the Supreme Court had declared the local government election conducted by Fubara as null and void. Now he wants to conduct his own. If I were to have my way, I would have said, why can't you just allow spend your 6 months, allow the incoming governor that had been suspended for 6 months to conduct the election.
Perhaps we have people yearning to become chairman.
Yes, now we are saying you want to have election, the River State Electoral Commission, has it been properly constituted? I don't know.
It has not.
It has not. So, who conducts the election? Is it INEC? So when you look at all those things, you know that at the end of the day, some characters will be put there as chairmen and councillors. I don't think it is not good in this our democracy to allow a lot of this kind of thing to go away. However, unfortunately, we don't have a National Assembly that can check anybody. We have a rubber stamp National Assembly. It shouldn't have been allowed to conduct the election. And once it does that, it goes, they become elected chairmen and councillors. And
so what's the role of the judiciary in all that? Judiciary will people won't go to
court.
No.
Who has gone to court to challenge it? Nobody has gone to court to challenge it.
We still have some days before the 30th. Anything can happen before then.
Well, let us see. Because I am praying that Nigeria does not get to a situation that people will lose confidence in judiciary. I'm praying. Because the way it is now, even that judgment, judgment, many people doubted it. But unfortunately, that's the apex court. If you are not satisfied with the decision of Supreme Court, you go to court. And it is only God that can judge. But the way it is now, there's nothing anybody can do about it. The elected local government chairmen and councillors have been asked to vacate their seats, and we cannot continue to have void.
No, we can't say there's nothing anybody can do. Just as you said, we still have some days. People can still approach the...
Yeah, if they do. That is if they do. If they do.
No, we can't...
Let me just say, APC in River State is saying they are not part of that election. Faction of PDP is saying they are not interested. So who are those people that will contest that election? If I were to be a boss, I would have said, okay, let's wait for my tenure to elapse and let the incoming governor that is constitutionally empowered to rule the state to do whatever he wants to do. But it's like he has an agenda, and that agenda is being implemented.
Well, it's on the card that some people from River State have reasoned. They have been speaking, with various complaints that the election should not go ahead, citing some of the reasons that you have given here. The umpire, the electoral body, is not well constituted. And how do you go ahead with such election?
Maybe after the election.
Quite a lot of people.
Maybe after the election, those aggrieved will go to court. And it doesn't take...
and it's not a pre-election matter?
No, it's not. For instance, after election in local government, it is the state court that will attend to it. After that, appeal court to Supreme Court. What we are talking about is not 1 month. It's not 6 months. It can even take up to a year plus. There are many cases in courts, political cases in court, election petition tribunal, cases arising from election petition tribunal, cases arising from land disputes, cases arising from chieftaincy.
And by then, Ibazeta would have exhausted the 6 months. But how are we sure that...
No, the 6 months is just around the corner. What I'm talking about is those who have assumed office. Before the court will say go or remain, the tenure of the governor will have been nearing completion.
Yes.
So that's the problem we have. They will go to court. Yes, some people will go to court. Aggrieved parties will go to court. But what will happen to quick dispensation of justice? Big problem.
Well, from the way things are going, there's peace, relative peace in River State. So I've been thinking, well, the president, is it possible for the president to say, oh, there's peace here, Fubara has reconciled with Wike. There's no problem for Wike to have even said that as Fubara is not a very good friend, that they have settled their matter. Is it possible for the president to terminate the 6 months?
Was his right ab initio for the president to have declared a state of emergency because of the dispute between two people, between Fubara and Wike? Was it right?
But at that time, pipelines were being destroyed.
How many pipelines? How many lives were lost? In Chokoto yesterday, how many people were killed? In Safari, how many people were killed? Today, in Kaduna State, how many people were killed? How many people were killed in River State? We are talking about economic power, that pipeline was blown open. And you are talking about lives. Which one is more important? Which one should take priority? Me, I'm of the opinion that if I were to be president, I would have declared state of emergency in some states in the northeast, northwest, and north central, and allow moving military there. Make sure that there's no loss of lives. Look, if a life is lost, for instance, if a 20-year-old man dies, it will have been, maybe if that guy is a graduate, that means, look at the process. He was 9 months in his mother's womb as a toddler, went to school, and that life was has been terminated. So lives, or a life is more important than any economic power. It is when you are alive that you are talking of oil. It is when you are alive that you are talking about becoming anything. But once that life is gone, there's nothing anybody can do about it. Nothing.
But we keep blaming President Bola Tinubu that he shouldn't have come up with this idea of the military administrator putting in place in Rivers State. But the president was actually said by Obasanjo many years ago.
Because somebody did it and people, it was wrong. Must you do it now? Obasanjo did it. Obasanjo didn't declare a state of emergency. What he did was...
What happened?
No, yeah. And when he brought Olori
to Ekiti State,
it was wrong. People condemned it. So must you now applaud it now? Because interestingly, Obasanjo is a Yoruba man. Tinubu is a Yoruba man. The other one happened in the Yoruba states. This one didn't happen in the Yoruba state. It happened in the South states. So sometimes people read meanings to all these things. But I am of the opinion that irrespective of who did it, once somebody is elected, there is a provision, a constitutional provision for him to be removed. You will have allowed that provision,
to be exhausted.
To be exhausted.
Yes.
Adamawa State Governor Murtala Yako was removed by the House of Assembly. He went to court, and the court reinstated him, although the tenure has ended. He got all his attachments.
How about Ladoja?
Ladoja returned. In Ondo State, Alalusi was removed. He was returned. The tenure has ended, and the court said...
Even legislator in Ondo had such a problem. The man from
Odibo. I can't remember that one.
He had some problems too, and the court said he had to be reinstated.
No, that we are talking of Roju. Yes, he was paid his attachments.
So we should still believe in a judiciary.
Yes, I'm not saying we shouldn't believe in judiciary, but judiciary must live up to its expectation. The one of Roju, he won at the appeal court, and the government didn't challenge it to the Supreme Court, so he was asked to be paid his entitlement, and he became deputy speaker. that of Alhaji Alalusi, the government, Akeredolu's government, didn't challenge it at the Supreme Court, and he remained deputy governor for life. So when you look at it that way, you know that yes, people are fallible. Judiciary is fallible because it is humans that occupy those seats. So there can be mistakes, and that's why we have Supreme Court. Whatever happens at that River State election, if it is conducted on 30th of this month, those aggrieved will go to court. My problem is, when would justice be dispensed? It's not something that is as easy as that. Money will be spent, time will be wasted. A lot of, like I said it sometimes, that cases in courts are just too many. Divorce cases, land matters, chieftaincy disputes, electoral.
You have different kinds of thought. You have customary courts. Customary courts take care of such cases, divorce cases. I don't think it's for the High Court.
No, I go to court very well.
Yes,
it is in High Courts.
Oh, so
yes, the only court that is removed from that is Federal High Court. There are a lot of cases. That
is where the federal institution is involved. Federal High Court.
No. What I'm saying is that at the Federal High Court, we don't have divorce cases there.
Okay.
But in State High Courts,
okay.
There are divorce cases, land disputes, chieftaincy disputes.
So we have loads and loads of
cases at the lower court.
Even at the appeal court level, we still have.
How many cases? All these cases, when you determine it, all these cases go to appeal.
It should be decentralized. Take some to the magistrate court. Take some.
No, there are cases in magistrate court. There are cases in high court. There are cases in appeal court and at Supreme Court. What I'm saying is that there are the judges are few. There are many. So now the cases in so it will also end up there. And the court will also be bombarded with cases. That's my point. Because these judges are humans like us. When you check a court list, you have about 20 cases in a day for a judge. It's a human being like us now.
Law of diminishing
return will set in.
Anyway, delayed defeat equity, they say, 30th of August, let's see what is going to happen. From all indications, I don't think that election should go ahead. There's no constituted arbiter or set of arbitration as far as that election is concerned. And the the administrator does not have the constitutional right to go ahead with that election. I want to take a break now. If you're just joining us, you have not missed much because Viewpoint will return in a jiffy. Stay with us.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to Viewpoint, coming to you live on Osrc television. The West Africa Examination Council has finally released the 2025 school certificate examination. That is for the senior secondary school examination, but not without some controversies. Well, recall that the results were earlier released, about 1 or 2 weeks later, but WAEC came out to tell us that there were some glitches. That word, glitch or glitches, that some time ago the Joint Admission Matriculation Board had problem with the UTME exam. It cited problems and called it glitches. Now WAEC is saying glitches. For me as a person, before now, had never heard of that word before. So honestly, we are in the day of, number one, miniaturization, in the day of ICT, and now the people handling examination in Nigeria are talking about glitches in WAEC, in JAM. What is the problem?
You see, thank God we discussed the issue of JAM here on this channel, and we said that JAM was wrong to have relocated students from one place to another. People died, but this time around it wasn't like that. It was problem of the internet. Those who passed were said to have failed, and those who failed were said to have passed. So, and it has been corrected. So we thank God that that one doesn't involve or didn't involve life, unlike that of JAM. I would have advised that before you announce results, you should have
check over and over again.
And that is why some people are saying Nigeria is not right for electronic voting. Because our internet is still not foolproof. So if ordinary exam of secondary school children could have issues like this, what happens if it were to be election? That means the result of Mr. A or the result of Tope will have been given to Ake. And the result of Ake will have been given to another person. That is why we should have a sound electronic system.
Now, there's a school of thought that believes that there was no problem, that WAEC did not have any technological or whatever problem, that what actually happened was the fact that the level of failure was so high, actually in English and mathematics, so WAEC just felt, no, we cannot let it go like this. So that was the reason they said, okay, blaming glitches in quotes, to now release another set of results. And by the time those results came out, we had more people in the doing well in English and mathematics.
Well, I don't know the school of thought you are quoting. What they told us, and let us take it on the face value, is that we have glitches. Let me just say something. Examination is not the test of knowledge.
Yes.
It's not. We have people who didn't do well in exams, and they are doing well in life. We have seen people who had top class in the university and are doing well in the field. I will thank God we are all journalists. Those people, the pioneer journalists in this country, didn't go to university. The Ladebonola of this world, the former Governor Shoba of this world, and many others, didn't go to university, but they had the passion for it, and they did well. Latif Dakande was a journalist, and many others like that. So that you pass exam wouldn't make you the best in the class. It's just to...
We can't sit on that. If you look at it, the performance index is nose-diving, plummeting as days go by, honestly. So are we saying our children, the candidates, are doing well?
Look, we are raising another issue. But let me just tell you that why...
No, because we still have to look at... If you look at the result, you still discover that even though it's better than the first set of results released, they have not done well.
You see, what I'm saying is that I've said that examination is not the true test of human knowledge.
That's
It's
the premise.
Yes. No, that's the premise in education. What I'm saying in essence is that there are many people, it's just to test your ability in that exam. That particular exam. In Nigeria, before you gain admission to university, you need to have English and mathematics and 3 other subjects. That is the
relevant subjects.
That's the prerequisite for admission into university. And that is why people do a lot of things to make sure they get admission, because we believe too much in paper qualification in Nigeria. And that's why I said...
So what's the alternative?
That's why I said initially that many people did well in this profession. The founders of this profession were never...
But I put it to you that even those who did well in the past, who never went to university, they still met some level of requirement.
Sure. Look, let me just tell you something. Now in Nigeria, before you get a job, a white-collar job, you are thinking of having a degree. And that's why people do a lot of things to get to university. They have subverted technical education. People no longer believe in colleges of education, polytechnics. That's why you see many people, those polytechnics are striving to become university. Colleges of education are striving to become university of education. Why? Because they believe in university education. That is a different discussion that we will discuss some other time. But what we are talking about is that people fail exams. There are many reasons. Look at our set.
Can the reasons be corrected? The problems, the challenges?
The challenges can be corrected, but we take orientation and reorientation. Let me tell you, a child will come back from school, instead of reading, what are people doing? What are the children doing with their phones? What are they doing with their phones? Are they reading?
That was why I asked you the reason for the level of
what are the parents doing in nowadays? How many people have television in their houses? Now people are no longer reading news or doing other things. They do kind of things on their phone.
Even nowadays, we're not allowed to use calculator.
Yes, exactly. We have one paper, four-figure table. But now people bring computers, and what do? They can even Google the answer, and that's why we have people, doctors who are killers, lawyers. When you go to court, you see lawyers.
So if you have doctors who are killers, that means there's a problem with the education
system, which must be rigged.
Are you now trying to say that
we should not look at
a state of emergency
of education?
Yes.
Let me tell you, go to every strata of the society. You'll be ashamed of yourself being a Nigerian. In judiciary, you see them. In the health sector, it's even worse in the health sector. Somebody will be sick, and you will see the doctor googling. You will be talking to him. Will be checking it out.
Those are rookie doctors.
But those are the people you meet in the hospitals now. The better ones are fled.
But outside, in England, in the US, they keep praising our doctors, that we have some of the
those who are there
in the world. Some that left here.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because they are exposed to other kind of education, medical education there. I'm taking people to hospital, and you see what is happening. I'm not even talking about health sector alone. Go to judiciary. Look at even the journalism that we practice. Look at kind of stories some people write. Go to these platforms. What do you call it? Water platform. Social media platforms. See the kind of grammar people write. You'll be ashamed of yourself. What is it that we are going through in this country? So
anyway, the preponderance is worrying, really.
It's worrying. I'm telling you the truth. It's worrying. when you see things, look at the number of graduates being turned out, even in the law schools. And when they get to the field, you start wondering, is this person?
But water we find is level. The better ones we all lose.
Exactly. But what happens to those who are not better?
Okay, before we go, because of our time, tomorrow, the 12th of August, is the deadline date for the tinted glass permit requirements. But then you discover that motorists everywhere, they've been scrambling, to get that permit, and it has been unsuccessful. So another glitch this time.
Another glitch. Another glitch. I know that the IGP has given some policemen opportunity to make some money.
I don't understand.
You know that Nigeria is corrupt, and people find a way to make money.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, if you don't believe it, you know it, unless you want to pretend about it.
I'm not a pretender.
Yes, you see policemen on the road doing what?
Well, some of them have been alleged of doing that, yes.
Exactly. So now tomorrow we see policemen on the road looking for permits. Isn't it? And once you do the needful in Nigerian balance, you'll be allowed to go. Now there are a lot of people who are interested in getting that permit. We have a problem in Nigeria. It is when it's about the day that people start to run around, and before you know it, it is late. So that is one thing. That's one angle to it, that it really wait for the last minute before you start rushing for the permit. Now the permit will take effect from tomorrow. The IDP had extended it earlier.
I think May. I think it was
yes,
May. Yes,
to tomorrow. I can tell you that because of the glitch, they will still increase it. I mean, extend it. So once it is extended, I pray that because people will now be relaxed and say, okay, well, we still have time. They should just do it once and for all. And why should you have to put nylon cover? You are not a security person. You are not a governor. You are not deputy. You are not speaker. So why are you? You are not a security threat to anybody. So why are you using that veil? I am of the opinion that they should just those who did it without permit should just go ahead and remove it. Once it is removed, you can take your car anywhere. Why? What are you hiding? What are you putting in your car that you don't want people to see?
Status symbol.
What is that status? What is that status? If you want status symbol, go and buy bulletproof car. In that essence, it will come with all the necessary bulletproof. The veil that nobody will see you. But the situation where you buy a car like that one of my own, and you start putting nylon so that people will not see you. To do what are you doing in the car that people shouldn't see you? So I am the opinion that I pray that tomorrow those who don't have it should just leave their car at home until they get the permit. If you don't get the permit, leave your car. If you get the permit, you can now go ahead. But if you know you can remove it.
I think because of the security situation, we have found ourselves in.
Yes, a lot of things are happening in the car.
Very important that we reduce the number of people, going about in tinted vehicles.
You don't need it.
That will do as far as Viewpoint is concerned for this week. I've enjoyed working and chatting with Mr. Tope. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
You're welcome.
And hopefully we know Mr. Felix Adonge will be here next week. On behalf of everyone here, my name is Akintunde Akinshimola. Good evening.